My name is Eric Dirks, and I fell in love with horses watching my dad work with them. My dad started riding at a later age, but he was quite a horseman in the sense that he loved just working with the horses. He wasn't so much into the showing, but he had the idea of what he wanted the horses to do. Back then, I had no clue. I was just a really young man, and I just loved watching the horses in motion. And several memorable moments, two that really stick in my brain that make me addicted to the sport, is one, my dad was lunging a horse, and I see this horse. He's on the line, and the horse is just in workman attitude. The eye was soft. The ears were off to the side. The horse looked like a parade horse to me. On the bit is what we would call it today. Rhythmic, listening to my dad, as my dad was just basically calmly telling the horse commands. Trot, canter, the horse being obedient and working with them over rails and all kinds of stuff like this. It was very poetic looking. The other memorable moment was watching my dad ride, and he always rode these thoroughbreds that he could afford off the track, and was a really hot horse, and he was a bit of a smoker back then too, had a cigarette hanging out of his mouth, and just working with this horse that was frantically going underneath him, and just a calm attitude, asking the horse calmly to do what he wanted it to do, and just repeating the aid over and over again with no passion involved. And eventually the horse, you just felt the horse just do, and took a breath and relaxed its body and matched that figure that I saw on the lunge line as well, of the horse round and poetically moving with the horse. I fell in love with this. I love working with horses. And not until you start competing do you understand little other concepts that you want to get out of the horse. Basically, I didn't know what I wanted from the horses, but I knew I wanted to do it. So this is what I'm going to throw out there. First off, there was a speech by Eric Smiley a couple years ago in the USCA that I want to go through different levels of competency with you. First off, let's just say that I was unconsciously incompetent. I saw horses, I loved them, I wanted to do that, but I was unconsciously incompetent what to do with it, right? Then I became consciously incompetent. I realized I didn't know anything. So I sought to become consciously competent, right? Then later on, today, I go inside and out of all these levels of competency to the point where I want to become unconsciously competent, where it becomes an act of nature with my horses, okay? But here's my fear about the horse world today. Horses were at once used for work, war, and through time, there was developed a training system that was going to increase the longevity of your horse, increase the trainability of your horse. And today, we prove this through showing and dressage. It's a classical training system. However, because there is a judge sitting at C, or B or E, depending what level you're going, they have a one-dimensional view of the horse. And a blind judge could see a horse's head come up. So immediately, the riders around are riding ahead. There's also this culture that we're in right now. We're in a very fast-paced culture that is very insecure. And the insecurity is even building amongst us with us texting each other all the time because we can't be secure enough to have a live one-on-one conversation. So when this culture goes on, though, it spreads onto the horses as well. The riding today is becoming so forced, right? It's so forced without looking out for the betterment of the horse. And today, We have riding that we have equipment that is built around that kind of industry, whether to put a horse's head in the end result frame without understanding what is it that you want from your horses. So this is what I hope to make obvious to you, and this is something that I want to be the message of our farm, is to put the fun back into training your horses and what you're and realize what you're actually looking for, becoming consciously competent of what you're looking for. Here it is, all in a nutshell: balance. If you were to work out yourself and pick up a 10-pound dumbbell, anyone could pick up that 10-pound dumbbell. I have an imaginary dumbbell right here. I'm gonna go pick that dumbbell up. All right, hey, that's easy, right? It's only 10 pounds. But if I were to do that 20 times, I'll start feeling it in my body. Now, here's the other scenario. If I were to use my whole body in balance to pick up that 10-pound dumbbell and bend my knees and use all my muscle in my whole body to pick it up, it would be a lot more difficult to pick it up, wouldn't it? However, you're building all your muscle groups to increase longevity through your body to be able to pick up more weight for the future. Your horse is not, was not created to be ridden, right? God did not intend these horses to be ridden. They have a long neck, a heavy head, they're built on the forehand, and their way of going naturally, that impulsive response, is to push off of one hind leg more than the other, drop the wither, and it's the total opposite of what we're actually training the horse to do. But we have a responsibility as horsemen, as trainers, and any of you that hop on a horse, you are a trainer. You, as a trainer, have to put that horse in balance. That balance will carry the rider's weight. That horse was not meant to carry the rider's weight. Naturally, the horse wants to hollow the back and have the impulse response of driving off of one leg stronger than the other. But what we're training the horse to do, though harder, just like picking up that 10-pound dumbbell, is to protect our investment, to train the horse to carry the rider's weight, to push off evenly off both of their hind legs, to protect our investment for longevity and trainability in the long run. Because no horse wants to be in pain after carrying that 10-pound dumbbell 20 times in a unbalanced position. All right? There's 3 concepts that I keep telling myself. Number 1, and it's in this order: have fun. All right? Because if you have a bad day at the office or at school and you go out to the barn and you go to ride your horse and you're like, all right, I gotta get through the day. I got only an hour to ride my horse, and just a quick brush, let's get on with it, walk, trot, canter, go back to the barn. What does that horse think after that workout? What you look forward to for the little things in riding, to enjoy the little things about riding, to have fun over. Number 2, protect your investment. So when I work my horses, it's all strengthening the horse to protect them in the long run, physically and mentally. And number 3, to win. Now, this is important. A lot of people would say, oh, winning, that's a bad word. Well, I put fun first, protect my investment second, winning third. So if I were to go to a show and I put winning first, I gotta get in there and win, and not thinking about how my horse is using their body, well, then I'm sacrificing the horse, aren't I? Right? That's too often. If you go to a horse show and watch the warm-up, there's 2 common threads. You have one person that is trotting a canter around the arena. Hey, hello all. Da da da. Horse is going around, happy as could be, and everything's fine, right? Then there's the other rider that's in the corner going, just get your head down. I don't want anyone to see me. And, oh, come on, you were so much better at home. What are you doing now? Yeah, there's that scenario. And then the third scenario, the scenario that you want to be, is the rider that is listening to the horse that you have today and working with the horse. You see a two-way conversation happening here. But we put our agenda too quickly ahead of the horse. So what I want to show you are some obvious signs of a two-way communication with the horse. We have two examples today. The first is a young horse. I'm going to show you from the work with the horse on the ground. And I just want to show you just some little concepts of how the horse takes accountability for their own balance and how the horse alters their balance on different circles, all right? So naturally, the horse has a reflex of dropping the withers and getting away from anything that they're afraid of. But we're going to have this horse work with me a little bit and see how they alter their body to balance. What we're after from the horse to do is to carry the rider's weight. So when the horse carries the rider's weight, the back comes up and lifts the rider's weight. But the back has to be relaxed. There's no back muscles that carry the rider's weight. It's actually their core muscles. And a big part of the horse relaxing the back for the horse to carry the rider's weight with their core muscles is how they stretch their neck as well. But if a rider is putting the neck in place, you're actually taking the accountability for the horse's balance. The horse starts leaning against the rider. So what we're really wanting is the two to work together, the rider and the horse, to have a two-way conversation, just like a dance. Zoe, I'm going to use you for an example. Come here. Chloe, sorry, Chloe. Oh, Chloe. Chloe. So Chloe's here. She did not know that I was going to call her up for this, right? All right. So give me your hand. And now, I'm going to, right now, can we say that we're in balance right now? No. No. What do we need to do to be in balance? I'll need to bend my knees a bit, right? You're just the horse, all right? So you just relax, right? So for me to be in balance, I need to bend my knees a bit, right? Now, if I were going to do a task, let's say like raise one leg, whoa, I could lose my balance, right? I'll extend my arms out, or lower my center of gravity even just a little bit more. I lower my center of gravity from my head down to the ground. The horse, being on all four legs, lower their center of gravity in a different way. They lower their center of gravity from their tail to their nose. Not to be forced, though. That's on the horse's own accord to lower their center of gravity. So let's repeat that. When I lower my center of gravity, I lower my head down to the ground. The more I lower my center of gravity, the more potential power I have. The higher I can jump, the more I can push someone over. More potential power. Here I have a little less, right? We'll just call the horse, when they lower their center of gravity from their tail to the nose, the more they lower their center of gravity, the more they collect. Lowering the center of gravity will be synonymous with collection. The better the horse collects, the higher they can jump. Okay? So whenever I'm working with the horse, I'm testing the horse's center of gravity. How are they going to lower it? We're going to watch this horse, the horse's name is Zoe, and we're going to watch this horse lower its center of gravity all on her own without me influencing the horse. So if I were to now later on when I ride the horse, I'm going to work with the horse in a two-way conversation where I'm going to move the horse's feet. All right? But she's very good. The first time Chloe was standing there, I took her hand, and I had to pull her over, right? But then later on, as I keep moving her with a soft feel, she's starting to follow this light contact. This is the kind of contact I use with my horse. See, I threw her off to the left. I didn't tell her I was going left, but she was a little late with that response, wasn't she? But if my response stays the same, she starts following there. And now I could even backed her off. Now she moves forward. Now she's moving right. I don't even have to tell her where to go. But look at this light contact I have. That's the kind of communication I want with my horse, to be that light. Now, Of course, when we get the horses to lower their center of gravity, they're going to want to use something to assist in their balance. The first thing the horse does, usually, is go to their hands. They feel so heavy in my hands, all right? And I don't like the term heavy-handed German riding garbage. That's just a horse that is heavy on the hands. But what I try to do is explain ways of getting the rider to basically put the horse back level on their feet and soften first instead of get off my hands. But find that the horse takes accountability for their own balance and the rider leads where they want them to go. So, Becca, why don't we bring in Zoe here? All right. And some little things that I do when I'm lunging, I always wear a hard hat, and I always wear gloves. Safety is a big thing, and not until you really experience a lot of horses and have a few close calls do you take it seriously. So Tracy and I, we were very big on the helmets here. And I don't care what discipline anyone rides, they should wear a helmet, whether they're lunging or riding. Would you be able to get me that whip over there too? It's lying on the blocks. Okay, this is a nice 4-year-old. I chose this horse because I don't know much about the horse. And so I wanted to make it exciting, okay? I wanted to make it exciting because it's a little bit more of a lively conversation. We're getting to know each other, right? If it was a horse that, let's say, walk, trot, cantered on the lunge line, so obedient, we wouldn't see the conversation. That's why it cracks me up when you see training sessions on TV. You usually see the end product all the time. And everyone goes, that's what I want. That's what I want. So everyone goes home and they jam it up, right? So we want to show the raw product from the very beginning. Oh, thank you. So this is Zoe. And first off, you know, there's a lot of steps I could miss here. I don't want anyone walking away from here going, oh, he's using this piece of equipment for the lunge line. That's not classical or other things. I want you to watch for the conversation I have with the horse and also the end result I get with this horse, okay? So first off, let's say I just want the horse to move around me in a circle. No side reins. There's no influence for her to go on the bridle, okay? A big part in working with these young horses is their comfort zone. Now, I've worked with her twice on the lunge line before, so she's gotten a little bit of a start with me. Part of working with that comfort zone is I move around a bit as well. I'll move my circle around to the point where I will walk her around some of the jumps. I will walk her around that tarp. I will make her walk her over the tarp. I'll trot her over the tarp. Just comfort between, and comfort being between the obstacles, learning my space like she did there. She came into me, and learning to step away from the whip. The whip is basically just an extension of my arm. It's not used against the horse. Note, it's going to be a little harder to explain this while I'm working with the horse, but every action I do with the horse, I'm not panicking. She trotted, so what, right? I may have gave her a mixed signal. And walk, my girl. I'm going to have her walk here. I give her a little squeeze with the hand, good. My body language tells her to walk. She almost turned into me, which is natural, is because she's looking for my guidance. But now I'm going to lunge her over the top of the tarp. We're going to watch what this horse does. She's relaxed in nature, so she's not giving too much of a show. But watch her expression over the tarp. She's going to have to figure it out. There, I love that expression, all right? Now, I've worked with her twice over the tarp before, but there's some things what I really liked about that move. First, she was cautious, She looked at the tarp. She then looked for me for the A to go forward. And we'll walk again. And now she sees the tarp again and she figures out, oh, is there a way around it? There we go. And I also watch how the horse alters their balance over the tarp as well. That's fine. Until they get comfortable walking over the tarp, walking over the top of it. There we go. And this is very good for a horse, by the way. You know, when I first start out, they start out jumping it. Wanted to walk over it. There, very good. And just working with the horse, getting their comfort level. I also reward the horse often, so they look for the reward. So that's a start. That I work with the horse's comfort. I've been accepted in this trainer's challenge to work with horses off the track, where that would be the very first thing that I'm going to work with is the horse's comfort zone with me. Now, unfortunately, she's not giving us too big of a show. I should have brought out her out here the very first time. But next step is I want to show lunging on a circle and how she changes her balance. Naturally, horses don't just go in circles. So they change their body structure around a circle. They bend to the outside with their head while their haunches are going to the outside. Now, as I decrease the size of the circle, she is going to change some things to alter her balance. Went from a big circle to a small circle, some horses will go even more crooked and start peeling out on the circle. Then as the horse gets smarter, they start to slow down. But if I were trying to keep the same amount of energy in the horse's step, you will see the horse start to lower their center of gravity, and you'll see the outline come closer and closer, where you'll actually see a rounder horse. The action of the hind feet will become different too, what we call engaged. The horse's hind feet start to step up and down and become more active, kind of like a shadow boxer on its feet, staying on their feet. Get on your feet. So the horse begins to become more on their feet, become more level, and that's when the horse feels more adaptable to stretching the head and neck and using their back. So we'll go on the big circle here first. Encourage the circle to get nice and big. Partly also why I use the whip that I do. I use just a carriage whip because, you know, I want to use as less of an aid as possible. So when I trot, I want energy in the trot. But I don't want to chase her with the whip. I want her to go forward a little bit more on her own accord. Got a little bit of a knot here in the lunge line. There we go. Now we can honestly say the horse has energy to her step. This is good. And part of my comfort with the lunge line, I'll have this happen every so often. You get a little knot in the lunge line, nothing panics. I'm used to working with the equipment. Good. Now that she's going forward, I'm going to decrease the size of the circle. Let's watch how she alters her balance. See how she slows down immediately? But I'll try to keep the same amount of engine to the step, the same amount of activity. Come. Good. See how their steps changes? Now we'll increase the size of the circle. And the step is getting nice and long. Come, bigger. Come. Good girl. But it gets a little racy. We won't say that this horse is necessarily balanced yet, but we'll give the horse a little bit of a hand with side reins later on. But first, she's got to go willingly forward. Good. So that the horse becomes loose. I always like to say looseness before throughness. There, see now a decrease in the size of the circle. Watch how she changes her frame on her own. Come. See the difference in the step?
became more rhythmic, didn't it? Became slower and more accented. See how the rhythm is a 2-beat rhythm in the trot right now. But if I increase the size of the circle, now she's holding her own rhythm, so she's holding her own balance. This is a lot more of a balance. This is becoming a more and more balanced horse. Come. Come. All right, now we're going to help her out with side reins. The purpose of side reins is basically like Chloe and I having our hand contact together. They're just guidance. It's a hand. It's a hand for her to reach to and round into, to give her a little guidance where to go with her head and neck. Side reins should never be tight to the point where they pull the horse's head in place. I like them loose enough so that the horse stretches their top line, stretches this muscle here so that the back can relax. If the horse gets pulled through, they have an artificial bend to the neck and then the back hollows and they become tight. They're always tense. So now we give the horse some guidance where to stretch to guide the horse straight with the head and neck. She will hit one side rein over the other, occasionally trying to find her balance. Come. 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 Good. This is now the start of the horse's training, accepting rein contact. At first, when she feels the contact, the response is to go against it, like she did there. But I don't want to force her into a frame. Good. Now you see her starting to rush the tempo a little bit. She's rushing like she's going downhill, but I want her to find her own balance. I keep riding her forward. I keep encouraging her forward to find her own balance. Come. I keep her on a slightly smaller circle just to encourage her to bend to the inside. Come. Tuck, tuck. Good girl. Come. Good girl. And all I look for is that little bit of improvement. If she gives me a little bit of an improvement, there we go. Come on. She got a little distracted. Come. There, good. Now she became rhythmic. Come. 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 That's a girl. There, good. And walk. So what I was looking for there is that the horse started rounding, accepting the contact, stretching to the contact, and becoming rhythmic. You could see she's very green yet. She's only 4. This is her 3rd time with the side reins, figuring this out. It's very difficult to explain while I'm lunging and trying to work her at the same time. So what I'm going to show you now, which is going to be very obvious, is just the very beginning of the horse stretching to the contact with using her whole top line. Becca, is she here? Can I use you for an assistance here? So the beginning of lunging the horse is to get the comfort level, getting her moving off the aids, and getting her to start to accept the contact, not by force with the side reins, but just getting her as guidelines to stretch to that contact. I'm going to briefly hop on her. Now, I've only done this once before with her, and I just want to show you what the baseline, what we want all the horses to do. Before they really start the heavy work is the stretching. So when I first hopped on the horse and I applied contact, it's what the horse does with that contact. Did he go immediately against me? Eventually, what I want the horse to do is stretch the length of reins so that when they stretch the length of the reins, they're stretching their neck, their back, and carry my weight. Just like picking up that 10-pound dumbbell, people are going to alter their balance by making their job easier. This horse, when we went on a smaller circle, wanted to slow down behind the motion. Some horses, they will peel out with their haunches. The straighter I can keep the horse, the more the horse is going to start using their general outline. So when I take up the rein contact and I ask the horse to work a little harder, the horse is going to alter their balance in a different way. She's already figuring out what this contact means and just rounding to it, but I want to encourage her now to stretch. The more I get the horse to stretch, it will be like a person touching their toes. I want this horse to basically touch his toes, but you could see that it's not force from my hands, but me pushing from my lower leg to the contact to encourage the horse to stretch more and more. As the horse starts to stretch, the rhythm becomes more and more dynamic through the horse. I push her through from my lower leg and encourage her to stretch her head and neck even more so. This is a great start. Very good. You see how now she's starting to reach for the contact and stretch. Stretching is the biggest key behind riding. Everything we do is stretching. Like a gymnast getting ready to do their routine, they don't run through the routine over and over again. They're always working on stretching. So that's the same thing I'm working with the horse. Now, you could see as I went to work on the horse stretching, she occasionally drops into the trot. That's basically like anyone, reaching for their toes and trying to lower their center of gravity and almost falling on their face. So all she did was break to the trot briefly to catch her balance. I encourage her to stretch again. There, the more I could get her to stretch, the better. There, super. Now all her muscles are very relaxed. This is very disappointing because she's not giving me a fight. Usually it's really a lot more entertaining when you have a horse that gives you a little bit of a battle, but she's not giving any kind of battle. That's part of what we look for in a horse though too. This horse's eye says it all. She's got a beautiful eye to her. And so she's very comfortable with herself. I'll even encourage her to walk over the tarp as I work with this as well. That's it. So she works that into play. Horse gets very comfortable with herself. Stretching again even more. Good. And then I want the same thing in trot as well. How does the horse use her body in the trot? To carry the rider's weight. So we pick up a little trot. And this is the basics. She's only 4 years old. And the baseline is getting her to stretch. But when she stretches her head and neck, it's willingly stretching. I'm not forcing her there. I'm encouraging her there by riding the horse straight, keeping her neck straight to a nice light contact, and pushing the horse around from my lower leg, encouraging her more as her coach. Good. See how she's working a bit, and then she gives me a good stretch there, and I encourage her to step up her trot even a little bit more, just to test her balance a bit more instead of doing a trot that's a little hokey behind my leg. Come. There we go. Come. There. The horse is willingly stretching. Now this is baseline. All the horses have to do this. They have to stretch. If I put them in an upper level frame to begin with, they're compensating with their body. Good. This is a lovely start. And I'll do is go change direction a little bit. And this is what we call looseness, that the horse is loose to their whole body. Good. The ears are off to the side. She's relaxed in her head. I'll even trot maybe over that tarp, see what she does. Gotta prepare, she might jump it. Yeah, that's all right, good. But you see, I'm in balance. I did not hinder her back, right? So I let her get comfortable with it again. But I love watching horses work through those kind of exercises because I want to keep them on their toes. I'm gonna come around the corner and trot the tarp again. Good girl, see how she got comfortable with it? She put her feet on it, that's good. And as a result as well, the horse is becoming more supple right here. It's very soft. She's willingly stretching the whole length of the rein. Very soft, my hands are soft. I come around to the tarp once more. Nice, comfortable ride, that one. So we're gonna walk and give her a big pet. That's very good, Zoe. So a little part about this workout, I didn't realize how hard it would be to explain it as I'm doing it. It's recognizing when the horse is giving you relaxation and giving you improvement, not the end result. If the horse gives you a little bit of improvement, I'm right there with the reward. Also recognizing what balance is, that the horse was level on their feet, stretching and not depending on the rider. So the biggest thing is comfort first. I gotta get the horse comfortable, relaxed, working with me, okay? Now, here's the hard challenge for me as a trainer when I'm working with an individual on top of the horse. The individual also has to be relaxed. The individual cannot have expectations. Expectations is a very dangerous word. You can't expect something to happen. You have to have a two-way conversation, right? Work with them. Good. Thanks, Tracy. Okay, this is Sakusta. This horse is a little further along, and so you'll see me test out this horse's balance in a different degree. What Tracy remarked also is going back to the stretching, the long and low work. That kind of work is so essential. When I worked with my dressage trainer at the time, John Winnett, it was all work on stretch, 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 stretch. And rarely did we ever put the horses up on the bridle. And right before the show, that's when we would do maybe 5-10 minutes of the workout a little bit more higher. But it's all stretching, getting this foundation down that the horse continues to come over the back. Naturally, if you ask the horse to do a harder task, let's say a flying lead change, or today I may demonstrate a little counter canter, the horse is going to immediately go to tension. Just like if you were to go on a balance beam, finally find your balance, but then I ask you, I want you to walk on the balance beam. Oh, you'll find your body compensating one way or another until you're comfortable lowering your center of gravity and putting one foot in front of the other. Then there's the cartwheel, right? And the movements get more and more complex. And as you work through the movements time and time again without force, then the horse becomes comfortable. But if force is applied, and you keep applying force, the horse will always remain tense. I was thinking about this talk in my head all day, and I philosophize to myself all the time. And I believe that the sport is going the way it is due to insecurities of riders with expectations. It's the insecurities amongst riders. Everyone is worried about how they look on the horse, that they're riding the horse's head down, or whether or not they could get that flying lead change. Perfect! I gotta get it perfect. No, you don't. You can repeat it again and again. And tell the honest truth, I feel under the gun myself today. Right? So this is good practice for me too. You have to stand by your own system and your own comfort to be successful in what you want to do. And so when Tracy and I teach, we get the riders comfortable, slow down their expectations, so that you could work one-on-one with that rider instead of the rider being worried about being judged. It's a lot easier riding this time of year rather than being in the show season right now. I tell you that. I feel very comfortable right now. But if I had a show next weekend, I'd be a little nervous. I'd be pushing my horses. Not consciously, right? But you have to be aware of that. So let's play. So that's the thing I always tell myself. Let's play. Let's play with what we have underneath us. So I pick up this horse. Now this horse is differently built, totally different than Zoe. This horse, when I pick up the reins, she immediately goes against the reins, and I have to get her hind end to quicken a little bit. Her hind end, because she's built a little bit flatter behind, she's a little slow with the hind feet. So this is going to be a good conversation. Now I have the contact, I'm getting her hind end to quicken underneath me. Say, come on, get those hind feet stepping. What she does is she disengages her hind end, or she drags her toes a bit. I try to use exercises to keep her straight, and I'm asking her to work a little harder into that walk. I'm backing, I like to say back up the walk, or I'm waltzing with my horse. Like I waltz my horse back and give again, back and give. And when you think about a waltz, your one partner is leading and then they release and let the partner carry the accountability for their own balance. So I lead, I back up the walk, and I soften the reins. You see how I soften there? But she didn't willingly stretch right away. She held herself tight. So I'm going to work on this horse, stretching her whole top line, but not dropping her neck either. This horse shows a lot of differences. This horse wanted to drop the neck at first. So I work on getting her to stretch the head and neck. And this is not anything to do with past training or anything like that. It's just that, let's just say that she's going to the gym and she doesn't feel like working out today. Takes her a little while to get warmed up into get into the groove. She's got to put on some motivational music, got to have a latte before she starts on the treadmill. There we go, there we go. See, now she's starting to balance on her own. You notice how I stayed soft with my contact to allow her to stretch. I'm working on getting her to give into the contact. There, then I can encourage her to stretch again. So this is a nice start. I changed direction because I feel like I got a little improvement to the left. I go to the right now. You'll also notice I'm riding with a lot longer stirrup and a dressage saddle with this horse. The reason being, on a young horse, I always like to ride them in a jump saddle so that if the horse becomes unpredictable, I can go with the horse. So when I ride with a shorter stirrup, my center of gravity is already lowered, ready for something to happen. With this horse, I'm riding with a longer stirrup, so I could communicate with the horse from at another deeper level. And my center of gravity is a lot longer through the horse. Good. She's working out the bit. See, now you could see her starting to chew the bit. This is a good thing. Now the contact is soft, just like Chloe and I had with each other. There. Now she's starting to stretch her top line. When she first starts, if any of you have walked or ran on a treadmill, you know how there's people that could run on a treadmill without using the handle in front of you and run on the treadmill using the handle in front of you? You don't need to grip on the handle in front of you, but it helps to put your finger on it, doesn't it? This horse likes to put her finger on the handle of the treadmill a little bit, right? And I want to get and take away the handle just occasionally. Good. There. Now I'm getting her to give into the contact more and more. And this is part of the reason why I want to show this from the beginning to the end, is it would be pointless for me to show you the end result. You wouldn't see the conversation. Now you're starting to see the conversation. I also lengthened the reins in my hands. You see my reins are a little longer because I'm prepared to allow her to stretch her whole top line through. Good, this is a good start. But this horse is gives me a live conversation. She compensates in so many different directions I can't even keep up with her. Her haunches go left, her haunches go right, her body goes left, her shoulders go right. I'm communicating with her in a soft way. There, good. See, now she's in balance, so I give to her again. See how she starts to stretch her neck on her own? I didn't once do this to get her round. I work the horse supple into it. I get the horse to back up and stretch and be balanced on this balance beam. There. Now we're going to take this into the trot and play with the trot. Come. Come. There we go. Work the straightness of the horse. Nice soften. I always encourage the horse to stretch more. I'm actually going to do some different stretching exercises. I'm going to do leg yield around the circle off my right leg. I'm bending her to the right, and I'm testing her balance here. Because she likes to fall to the right, I go ahead and say, all right, well, let's fall to the left and be a little straighter. There, she starts to shorten her outline on her own. Now I'll make her straight, and you can see how soft she is in my hands. There's nothing holding her in place. I encourage her to stretch even deeper. I want her back to carry my weight more. Yeah, see? There, that was a lovely stretch. Her neck is starting to stretch longer. Good. Then we change direction. This is the base. I'm not going to do fancy tricks today, getting the horses to collect too big. I'm just working on stretching and relaxing them. There, see, now we see the top line working here. Very nice and soft. Good. But still, sometimes now that I got her stretching, she gets comfortable, she goes ordinary, okay? I don't want ordinary, I want the horse to work a little harder. So what she does is she starts to begin to drag her back toes. So what I'll do now is I'll test her, I'll collect her a little bit more to get her more active in back by doing shoulder in with the same frame. So shoulder in, I'm on a circle right now, so shoulder in is even tougher. I have her shoulders come slightly to the inside track. Is it perfect? No. Is she giving me an effort? Yes. So when she gives me an effort, I'll change the haunches in. So now her hind legs are doing something now. Is it perfect? No. Is she starting to give me an effort? Yes. Good. Now I'll go to shoulders out, which is basically a leg yield. Little shoulders out. Good. Now little haunches out. So the horse is starting to listen to my aids. You see how I'm using my leg? It's very light. I'm just touching her. There, and then I'll go straight. Now we have a different trot. You see how her hind legs are more active? She starts stretching. There. Now she even gave me more stretch because of the activity behind. This is one of my favorite quotes from my dad. Whatever you see up front or feel up front is always a result of what they're doing with their hind feet. So I'm always working the hind feet. Nice and soft and relaxed. Good, so let's do this to the left. When I come back and do shoulder in, I get improvements more and more on the shoulder in. It'll be like a gymnast with their coach. If a coach goes, I want you to do that cartwheel now, you're not gonna get it. The gymnast has to be comfortable doing the cartwheel. So here we go now, shoulder in left, which is harder for her. Good, that's good enough for me. Haunches in, good. This is a good one for her. Shoulders out because she likes to run through my right rein a bit. She's basically right-handed. She wants to grab for the right hand railing going down the stairs. Good, then haunches out, and I have light contact. Now, how am I keeping this horse light on her own? Is my upper body leverage. I'm tall and my leg is straight down. There, now I'm straight. Good. And I'll improve on that shoulder in left by doing a little shoulders out. And then I'll change that back to shoulder in, trying to keep her neck straighter. There we go. Good. That's a great effort. But see how she changed her outline? She shortened her outline a little bit, but I'm not fighting her at all. She's basically trying to find her balance on her own. She gets a little conversational there, but that's okay. Watch how she becomes more and more submissive. There, she came right through there. So when she gives me an effort, I'm really quick in giving and stretching again. Good stuff. Good, I want to encourage her to stretch again because that was a good effort. So this is like baseline again. When I get what I want, I'll encourage the horse to soften. You'll see me occasionally flex her a little right, but that's not to get the head down. That's just to see that she follows the rein. Just like I gently pulled on Chloe's hand, I want to see that she follows it softly. And then I see how I could give the rein and she holds the right bend on her own. Yeah? Nice and soft. Good. Let's walk and give a little break. Good. It's very important to give lots of breaks, because what I'm getting the horse to do is a lot harder work than just collecting. You know, it's really intense, straight work. If you were going to a gym and lift a weight on your own versus having a personal trainer telling you, no, you gotta bend at your knees, you gotta use your whole body, it's a lot more difficult doing that. And I've taken the most fit horses, and it can only last a 10-15 minute workout doing this kind of stretching because it takes that much more out of them. But this is the base. Over and over again, I work on a stretching. We'll do this with canter just the same. And I'm testing the horse's comfort level all the time. You could see the horse's comfort level going straight and very well balanced. But then I test it out, doing shoulders in, haunches in, testing out that balance, encouraging her, and then she figures it out. Good girl, you got your balance, and then I move on. The reason why I move on to a different exercise immediately is I keep the workout exciting. I want the horse always to look for something different. I want the horse excited. I don't want the horse to become monotonous in the training. And then mares like this will easily go, if you hit a point when you get tired, the horse is just gonna go, I don't want to anymore, right? And then if you get into that zone, you don't want to have that horse tomorrow have to start out with the same attitude. We want the horses to have a great attitude through the whole workout. So you always work out the horses before you don't never work them until they peak. I always like to do every workout before they peak. So every workout is like a warm-up for the dressage test. If you work the horse out to their ultimate peak every day, then the horse becomes sour. And as Tracy discussed earlier, we're really got an advantage here with all the places we can hack and take the horses out on the trail and entertain them with different stuff rather than the monotony of the everyday work. All right, so now I'm preparing for canter. See how on break, like this, I give her a little break. It's just like you guys standing on the railing. You're not necessarily balanced. You're not ready to canter. You're not ready to take off or do a jump shot at that point. But now, when I take up the reins, I'm going to ask the horse to be in balance for a transition. So I put the horse's walk back in balance. There we go. It's coming a little quicker than the very beginning, naturally. There, good. So I'm prepared for canter. Slower. Slow, good, good. And canter. See? Nice and soft. A little abrupt, but you know, it will get better and better. So same thing in canter. I want the horse to use their whole top line. Canter is one of those gaits that's very easy to put the horse on their head. I want the horse to be soft, so I want her to come rounder through the whole body. I'm making the horse straighter through the right rein. Come, a little lower. Good. So we work on looseness. There, this is good. Now I'm going to ask the horse to give me a bigger stride and stay in the same balance. Come, come, come. There. Good. And then we come back to a shorter stride. Come. Yeah, she lost it, yeah? It's harder for her. Come. 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 Yeah, there we go. Good. And then a big stride again. Come. Come. There. But when I bring her to that shorter stride, I try not to shorten the neck. I keep the neck the same length and collect. So then the horse comes more and more over the back. Collect till the whole horse collects. Come, 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 come. Good. And all my aids are my hands and my legs. My leg is very light. Everything is very light on the horse. I'm just guiding the horse. So then later when I want to walk, I collect the horse even more, and all I have to do is change the weight of my seat to walk. You see? Because the horse is in balance. All right? So that's the basic start that we're going with this. Our dream with this farm is to be a source where we could be an example of showing some good horsemanship and good quality basic work without sacrificing the horses. It's so easy when you go into a competitive barn that you go up the levels. My goal is to go preliminary. My goal is to go second level. My goal is to go pre-St. George. I got to get there. And you forget about why you're riding the horse to begin with. And why we're riding these horses is we're training them, working them to better their body to carry the rider's weight in the long run. But if you start to appease the judges around you or your security trying to find control, you'll find that you're sacrificing your horse's balance and their welfare in the long run. So when I see some of my idols that are up there on the leaderboard, it's always the same top 5 riders, isn't it? And from there out, I'm talking in dressage and show jumping, from there on out, it's just a hit or miss. But those same top 5 riders up on the leaderboard, they've got something else there. They show up continuously up there. And also, you'll see those horses have such a long career ahead of them. You'll see how Gigolo doing Grand Prix until he was, what, 18? Rather than their career being done at 8 or 9. Whenever I see a horse push to Grand Prix at 7 years or 8 years of age, that's way too fast. And something was missed along the way, and that foundation's going to collapse. But what we try to do is have fun with the basics and enjoy reading the horses what they are.
The first thing is blankets. It's a huge deal, and I cringe when I walk into a barn and I see blankets on the floor or somebody just shoving them on the rack. And it takes less than, like, you can time me when I do this, how many seconds it takes to fold it in a super economic, quick way and make them look neat. And part of the reason why I feel like it's important to do this anyway on a daily basis is because you can check the cleanliness of them, because obviously if you have a dirty blanket, if a lot of dirt gets on the inside, you'll start getting shoulder rubs and so on and so forth. Also, it checks the hardware on the blanket to see if you need to have anything replaced. We're lucky, we've got a lot of people who specialize in the area. So I just fold it in half like it would be on my horse and lay it on the ground. If you want to, you can throw the buckles in, you don't have to. Like that, and then put it on your blanket bar like that. It obviously took me like 3 seconds to do that. So it's just an impression, and whether you have a small barn or a big barn, it's just nice. Everybody likes to come home to a clean house. Everybody likes to come home to clean sheets on their bed. So it's kind of like the same thing. I think it's an impression. So that's the first thing. This is just another quick tip. If you happen to feed beet pulp, we actually obviously have a large barn with a lot of horses in it, so every horse gets different supplements and so on and so forth. But what we do at the end of the day, our horses get beet pulp in the morning. And so we soak the beet pulp at night. And what I end up doing, instead of washing the buckets, throwing away, washing the buckets, throwing away, I'll rinse the buckets and then put the water in the beet pulp container so any leftover supplements are utilized. And I do it with hot water, so the buckets get very clean. We use little, probably what everybody else does too, just little feed buckets like this. And you know, at the end of the day when the horses are fed, we rinse them out, and then I have a big container with the beet pulp in it. Put it in there, and it's a nice way to not make a mess anywhere else with the leftover grain as well. So that is another one. Bits. If you are not a huge fan of cleaning tack daily, we are. But if you're not, the biggest suggestion I have is go dip your bit in a water bucket, run it under the sink, whatever. I had a representation of the equivalent of not cleaning your bit, and it disgusted me, so I put it away. I told Eric to let's eat dinner and not clean our forks and bring them down so you all could see what it would look like if you ate on the same fork over and over again. It's exactly what you have to think about with your horses. You know, you put a dirty bit in the mouth, you're risking, you know, cuts, scrapes, uncomfortable, you know, feeling for your horse. So just clean your bit. Takes 3 seconds to do that. Simple way of freshening up your barn aisle. Can pick up a cheap watering can anywhere, local store, and some pine sol, or we like to use lavender smelling pine sol, and about a cup of this to a full can, and we typically use hot water, and you just sprinkle it on the barn aisle to freshen up your barn. Just a nice way to do that. And also, actually, what I've noticed when we do it, because we do it on a daily basis, it really cuts down on red mud, and it loosens up any manure or anything like that you might have. So you can, you know, if you blow or sweep or whatever, it loosens everything up a little easier to deal with. Just a hard hat tip and a helmet tip. I'm sure you guys do this if you're a frequent flyer in the saddle, especially in the summer. You can put dryer sheets on the top of your helmet. It creates, obviously, it makes it smell better, but it creates a barrier for bacteria. And then also, if you ride in those plastic Troxel helmets, the colored ones, and you get scuffs on them, and you know, you start to see the little black marks or whatever. If you take WD-40 and spray it on there, and then just take a rough end sponge or something like that, they'll come off pretty readily. So it's a way to kind of keep your helmet nicer looking as well, and not make people think you've fallen a bunch. And the last one, this one's kind of my favorite, and I have to admit, I have no clue where this came from. It ended up in my feed room one day, so it was either Dobby or Shelly, and I'm guessing it was Shelly, maybe not. Was it you? Okay. This is the coolest thing ever, and I'm so doing it now. Two different things. This is not exactly the right thing, but it's what we had right now. Peppermint Altoids. If you have a problem with mice in your attacker room, they hate peppermint. So what you do is you place a handful of peppermint Altoids in a sandwich bag, close the bag, and pound it with a hammer. And then you can either sprinkle the powder around or fill a spray bottle with 2 tablespoons of the powdered peppermint Altoids and 2 hot cups of water and 1 tablespoon of dish soap, and then spray it all around your doorways and everything. Fortunately, we do not have a mouse problem here, except for one. And I think my cat got it the other day. So I've only seen one here, I swear to God, ever. I've only had one. But the other thing, because I Googled this trying to find out where it came from, and it's ehow.com, and they had a slew, spiders, snake remedies, and they were all natural, so there's no pesticides, which we're kind of big on around here as well. The other thing that they had was using just straight peppermint oil, because why they don't like it, the explanation is it irritates the receptors of the olfactory organ of a mouse, thus repelling it, and unlike chemical poisons, peppermint is all natural, blah, blah, blah. So that's it. So those are my simple little barn tips, and you can use them or not use them, but like I said, we just kind of try and find ways to always be efficient around here and to keep the barn clean, and it's a healthier environment for you and your horses.